So who are we supposed to believe? It is a question that many Americans ask themselves. And I'm not talking about, do we trust the left? Do we trust the right? Do we believe and buy into the mayhem on the left, or are we all in on the maniacs on the right? What is it we're supposed to do, think, act? What? Let's get into that.
Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth.
Hi, I'm Pastor Marty, and this is the Afternoon Drive Monday edition. So glad to have you along. Please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Once you are, smack the bell, click the word all. That gives you, allegedly, it'll give you the notification of all of my rants, my ravings, and of course, my undeniably flawless, perfect reasonings. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Like and share this video to your social media platforms. That's how we get the word out that we're here. Welcome to the Afternoon Drive. When you're an ideologue, when you are a person, I'll say this, of conviction, whether they are convictions I agree with or not, when you're a person of conviction, you have an ideology, a philosophy that you live your life by, and that is exemplified in how you conduct yourself personally. It is expressed in the way you worship, how you conduct your life, and the politics that you, quote unquote, buy into. But what do you do when you get to a place where you realize, if you're on the left, that you are surrounded by a bunch of just woke individuals that are constantly hell-bent on making something out of everything, even if the everything is a nothing, because you got mayhem on the left. And we have to, those of us who are conservative, have got to admit there are some maniacs on the right. So I want to get into both of this right now. Let's begin with the mayhem on the left, and then my conservative friends, of which I am a part, will get to us afterwards. But let's deal with the left first.
I have a brand new hairdo with my eyelashes all in curl. I float as the clouds on air. Do I enjoy being a girl?
The state of California, which at one time was considered the place that most Americans wanted to go to, at least to visit. Many thought about that would be the great place to not necessarily retire. That's always been kind of Florida. You know, you go down to Florida, just hang out at the beaches and do nothing. California, though, again, it has that kind of weather and type of, you know, beautiful, the ocean and the climate and the beauty of the state. But it also was considered the land of opportunity. You know, Horace Greeley, head west, young man, head west. And, you know, the goal was to go to California and make it. And now the only business that's prospering in California is U-Haul, because people cannot get out of there fast enough, including people of liberal leftist ideology. You know, now that they've totally destroyed California, they're looking to branch out and see what else they can wreck, ruin, and destroy. That's the sad part. But you take a look at California, highest taxes in the nation.
This guy's we're supporting states like Mississippi.
Oh, you know, Gavin Newsom is a pathological liar. I don't care that he looks like Ken doll. I don't care that he's got the plastic hair like Witness Protection Romney. Gavin Newsom is just a pathological liar, period. They don't have the highest taxes in the nation because they're bailing out Mississippi. They have the highest taxes in the nation because they bail out all the freeloaders that live there that pay for nothing and destroy everything, and they make their tax base pay for it. So you've got a broken border that they want broken in California because they're a sanctuary state. And notice that Gavin never puts any of his illegals on planes and sends them anywhere. Just come on in, come on in. We've got a wonderful street corner for you. You can live in a cardboard box right here, because they've got an out-of-control homeless problem in California because they've got out of control drug problem, because they got an out of control crime problem, because they hate the police, they defund the police, and you can do smash and grab, let's make a party and let's all go down to the local retail store and just shoplift because they're not going to do anything about it. This is California. People who park on the streets in the business district of San Francisco have to put little signs in their window. Please, I don't have anything of value in here. Don't break my windows. And they even leave their windows rolled down. So what do these people do? They smash the windshield. They smash the back window. Why? Not to steal anything, just because it's California. You can find human feces on sidewalks because that's where the homeless drop, plop, and let it flop. I mean, that's California. And so Governor Newsom, with this state that is absolutely broken, where you can come and pay the highest taxes and $6.50 a gallon for gas, what is it that he finally signs into law and deals with? Skittles. The candy. In 3 years, if they do not change their ingredients, it will be illegal to manufacture, buy, or sell the candy Skittles in the state of California. That red dye number 5, gotta go. Apparently, this also affects 10,000 other products, literally, including Campbell's soup. But Skittles, of course, the one that grabbed the headlines, like, really, we're going to make candy illegal. So let's get this straight. The crackheads on the corner can get together and they can en masse walk into a Walgreens or a Rite Aid, smash and grab, or they can walk into a Nike store and smash and grab, or into a high-end clothing store and smash and grab and walk out, and they're not going to be stopped, they're not going to be accosted, and nothing's going to happen to them. But we're now going to arrest 2 8-year-olds at a playground if they share a bag of Skittles. California, which is bending over backwards to try to make every illegal drug legal and the norm, and your kid can get gender reaffirming surgery and medication to become from a boy to a girl, but it's Skittles that are going to kill him. It's not nutritious. I'm sorry, who buys candy thinking that it's health food? I mean, literally. I remember when I was a school administrator in the state of New York, and of course, this was about the time they were taking soda machines and candy machines out of all the local public schools, because they, gotta get healthy. Well, what about the state mandated lunches that were being served in the public school cafeterias that were literally nothing but processed, crapola? Now, the school that I was a minister of, it was a private school. We had a soda machine. We had candy available. We also had really good lunches. We really did. I remember a salesman came trying to get me to buy into, the selling the candy bars to raise money. Oh, your cheerleaders need new uniforms or this or that. And I was kind of kidding with him in my office. And I said, well, all this candy, in the state of New York, the People's Republic of New York, how am I going to conscientiously send my young people out there selling this quote unquote junk food? And I remember he didn't skip a beat. He said, these are vegetables. I said, what? And it was the Hershey line of chocolate, Reese's peanut butter cups, Hershey chocolate bars, dark chocolate's the best. He said, cocoa, bean, vegetable. You're selling vegetables in a wrapper. You know what? I loved it so much. I was not going to do the program, but I loved his response, and I thought he was a really clever salesman to come up with that, and boom, we got in, we raised money for whatever it was we raised money for, and it was great. Loved it, loved it, loved it. But California, Skittles, gotta go. This is terrible. Who eats Skittles thinking it's health food? By the way, if I were going to pick a candy to describe the state of California, it would be Skittles, a bag of mixed fruit flavors. Because it's the home of the
rainbow community and the rainbow people and the
now what is it, the pastel people, and this is what Gavin Newsom's doing. This is his solution to a state people absolutely cannot afford to live in, and which was over mandated to death during the pandemic. And all he was able to say about that is, oops, my bad. How many businesses did he kill during the pandemic? But Skittles. Skittles are the issue. See, they're just, this is mayhem. You got rampant crime in the streets, but we're going to go after Skittles. But that wasn't the only law that he signed off on. In California, apparently, we're not talking enough about black people disappearing. So now on your phone, you're going to get, in California, the Ebony Alert. I kid you not, the Ebony Alert. That the so-called Amber Alert really only seems to draw attention to the fact that there are white kids missing, and we need to let people know that people of color go missing too. So there's also going to be, in California, an Ebony Alert. Now remember, this is the state that wants to do reparations. See, when I was a school administrator, I was also a history teacher. And if I remember my history correctly, California was never a slave state. So why are they offering reparations? This idea of constantly creating the permanent entitlement class, because that's how Democrats try to hold on to power. It is absolute lunacy, idiocy. It is mayhem. And by the way, there are many black Americans that have woken up to what a bunch of hogwash and nonsense, and it's basically just another way that the Democrats, who are the original creators of the KKK, did you know that? Those Dixiecrats in the South that didn't like the fact that Abraham Lincoln said all the hired help that was free, that after the United States got reunited, it was the Democratic Party that, to keep law and order in the South, gave the KKK their start. The Klan members that made it to Congress were all Democrats. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And black Americans, by the tens of thousands, are waking up to the fact that the endless welfare which destroyed the black family, and now reparations, is all about paying for you to shut up and stay on the plantation, where we, the white liberals, will take care of you. Because after all, didn't Obama Biden say, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black?
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
So that's the mayhem on the left. And then they wonder why Donald Trump is surging in the polls right now. In fact, I actually got into an argument this weekend, and I don't usually do politics on the weekend, but I got into an argument with someone who said the Republicans have nothing to run on. The Republicans don't have anything to run on. What are you Democrats going to run on? The economy? Certainly can't run on that. Going to run on border security? Certainly can't run on that. Even though Joe Biden's out there desperately now trying to build the wall. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger said it's okay. What are you guys going to run on other than your woke crap? That's all you got. So because of all this continual just mayhem that normal people, whether they consider themselves Democrats or Republicans or nothing, they look at this like, really? You're going to take my kid's candy away? Really? I got to get a special notification on my phone that is black only? But, I thought Martin Luther King and the great dream was to not see black or white, but to see us all as one. Because every time we do all of this, we're going to highlight one race over another race. It always leads to problems. We have no peace because we got rid of Aunt Jemima syrup, took a black guy's face off a rice box, and got rid of the Indian on Land O'Lakes butter boxes. It's only made everything worse. But that's the left, and that's mayhem. But now, let's take a look at, at the maniacs on the right.
Hey, what's he doing? He's at it again!
Lindsey Graham. Yes, that special friend of John McCain. And I mean special. Lindsey Graham, Rand Paul said this about Lindsey Graham years ago, that he would have us perpetually at war with somebody forever. And he's right. He's right. I mean, a year ago, he was over in Ukraine telling them, I'm going to get you tanks, I'm going to get you fighters, I'm going to get you soldiers, and we need to just march in and just kick the crap out of Russia. We're going to take the fight to Russia. Now, all of a sudden, he's not talking about Ukraine, Russia. This week, he said, if Iran gets involved, we're coming for you. And he was referring to the United States. We're coming for you. So if Iran gets involved with the fight with Israel, Lindsey Graham has already committed our troops. See, this is the stuff that people on the left or liberal people listen to and go, oh my God. Now let me back up and let me say emphatically that as a Christian, and I talked about this recently in a monologue, biblically, I stand with Israel. That does not mean I stand with political Israel. And we're seeing some things right now in Israel's response and retaliation that one might say border on war crimes. Because the God who does love Israel, and don't let some of these Christians with their reconstructionist theology, their replacement theology, tell you that the church has replaced Israel. It has not. When the Word of God says that we share in the blessing of Abraham as Christians, that's what it means. We share. Doesn't mean we replace, it means we share. We are grafted into the tree of Israel. I'm not a horticulturalist, but I do understand enough that when you graft a branch into a tree, that branch becomes a part of the tree, but it doesn't become the tree. And theologically speaking, the Jews were the apple of God's eye, his people. He loved them. They've rebelled. They pulled away. Jesus Christ came to save Israel. Israel rejected their Messiah. So the gospel was then offered to us, the Gentiles. We received Christ. That doesn't mean now that God has thrown Israel away. He's not done yet. We have simply been invited to be grafted in and a part. Doesn't mean we take over. So this nonsense that you're hearing from some preachers and some politicians that the Christians are now Israel, that's a bunch of bullhock. God gave that land to Israel, to the Jews, his people. That doesn't necessarily mean that Benjamin Netanyahu is doing what God would have done, because the same God who loves us and does love Israel, do you know he loves those Palestinians too? And when we're sending out AI doctored photos of beheaded babies that did not happen, burned alive babies that did not happen. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not apologizing or in any way trying to stick up for Hamas. These maniacs are 4th century thinking barbarians. And we know that there are political forces at play here. They did not want Saudi Arabia to sign an agreement with Israel. That's why all this happened. Because if the Saudis and Israel had gotten together, what Hamas feared was the rest of the Arab states would come in too. And Hamas could not let that happen. That's what this is all about right now. This needs to be contained, it needs to be brought in control, and it needs to stop. Lindsey Graham, we don't need any help from you escalating it and creating World War III. We're coming for you. Well, then you know what? You better be the first one over there with a gun, but I don't think you will be. Because somehow you get your rocks off. I really think you are a deranged, sick maniac who gets his rocks off thinking about other people sending their boys over to places to die. I think somehow you really get off on that. I think you are that sick and twisted of an individual. We need to be de-escalating. And at this point, had we had a real leader in the White House, they would have said to Benjamin Netanyahu, okay, we get it. They sent people in, they attacked, they took prisoners. You retaliated. Done. See, say what you want. Hate Donald Trump all you want. The other leaders of the world respected and feared him. They may not have liked him, But they respected him, and they certainly were afraid of him. You know why all of this is happening? Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Hamas, because they see weakness in the White House. Now, right now, China doesn't want to be drawn into this, and really, Russia doesn't want to be drawn into this one either. But then you got guys, maniacs on the right, who want to fund Ukraine, which is why McCarthy had to go bye. It'll be interesting to see how this goes with Jim Jordan this week. And it will be an absolute flag and declaration that even the conservatives, the libertarians, those that have some backbone and some character, even if they are in the minority, they can get things done. Republicans, every time they are in the majority, they get nothing done because they're the uniparty with the Democrat establishment. And this is what is turning people off. Mayhem on the left, maniacs on the right. And what people really want to know is, what are you doing to make my life better? And the candidates that can do that, i.e. the Donald Trumps, are the candidates that gain the respect and the vote of the American people. That's why Donald Trump is trouncing Joe Biden, and that's why the establishment and the military-industrial complex, who have had their funding disrupted by Donald J. Trump, are doing everything they can to keep him out of the White House. And to distract us from all of that, hey, don't you dare eat Skittles. It could kill you. Yeah, these are the same people that told me my paper mask that was made in Bangladesh by some kid who walked over it with his bare feet and then stuck it in a box and sent it to America was going to save my life during a pandemic. Yeah. Yep. Welcome to America.